Joe presents TKO, together with 32 Red.
Welcome to round 11 of TKO here on Joe, together with 32 Red. Fight fans are often debating top British fighters to have never won a world title. If we were to make a quick top five, who would be in it for you?
Well, there's a few. Harold Bomber Graham.
Yeah. Like Michael Watson, maybe?
Michael Watson, Kirkland Lang.
Yeah. Kevin Mitchell, too.
Kevin Mitchell. Henry Cooper. Henry Cooper. And the man we're going to speak to today, I think probably should have won 2 world titles.
I think you're probably right. And that man, of course, is Martin Murray. We're up here in Warrington for round 11. We're going to head to Murray's Tavern and go and have a chat with him. Should we head over?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You are, in many people's views, unlucky to have not won 2, potentially 3 world titles. Is that a compliment as far as you're concerned?
I don't know. I mean, it's just one of them things, isn't it? You know, some people have a little bit of luck, others don't. But, I mean, if I can get recognised by boxing fans as being someone like that, then obviously it's good enough for me, do you know what I mean? I don't look for any praise or acknowledgement, I just do what I do. But if they acknowledge that, and that's what they say, then obviously it's, it feels good to me.
You guys have spent a fair bit of time together the last couple of years in camp. You announced your kind of retirement in December. Was that a little bit...
as long as he's, I think.
I was going to say, yeah. Yeah. Was that a little bit rash then?
You know what? It was immediately after the fight, so obviously the feelings are, very, very raw. And the day after, I said that I'm going to contemplate, have a think about it. And you know what, if I fight again, great. If I don't, great. That's where I am at the minute. But I think I will definitely fight again. You know, I've had a lot of time just relax and just think things over, and I'm just going to do it now out of pure enjoyment. You know, going back to what you just said about being unlucky and things like that. I've never had the luck in the boxing, but so anyway, that's moving forward now for me. That's what I'm thinking of. You know, the luck's not with me. Just enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So, like I said, whether I fight in a few months, great. If I don't, great. You know, I'm in a great period in my life where, I've put a lot of work in the boxing. You know, I've worked hard, but it's just time now to start enjoying it and just relaxing a bit.
I remember that interview in the change room, because I was in the same change rooms the night I lost to Warrington and you lost it in Dam, and I remember thinking, don't be saying that, Martin, just because it was like rush, the fight had just happened. It was like, give it at least a few days, think about it. And that's why after the Warrington fight with me, I never said on camera I was retired, but in my head it was. Yeah. But then, if you don't announce it, you can come back and no one says a thing.
Yeah, but I'm like it. I knew just by saying that I was retired, that it was a bit too soon, and that's why I said I've not made an official statement. But could call myself semi-retired. Like I said, if I fight again, great. If I don't, great. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not physically done. I was more the year he had last year. Like, we had a top time away, didn't we? The camps. Yeah. Unreal. Honestly, them training camps were absolutely quality, first class, and it was the first time really where throughout my career I'd really enjoyed being in a training camp, and I absolutely loved it. But looking back, I grafted hard last year, and it didn't work out for me. Obviously, I had the 2 pullouts, and then I had that Garcia fight, and then again worked second half of the year, grafted, and it didn't work out for me against Indam, and just I was just low. Do you know what I mean? Because they say, like, you want to get out what you put in, and I don't think in some cases that's not the case. You know what I mean? I've committed and dedicated my life since I turned pro properly to boxing. Obviously, coming from the past I come from and the life that I had, and I've done really well. Nobody thought that I'd get here, but it was just. I was just flat, mentally flat. Physically I wasn't, but mentally I was just done with it. I was just done with it, and even like we fought on that Saturday. What was it? The 22nd. 22nd. Yeah. But my wife and my kids went away on the 20th, So I had to fly straight after the fight. I had to fly over to Vietnam. I met him on a cruise in Vietnam, but I got there Christmas Eve and I didn't see them till Christmas Day. And I just thought, you know, I'd done all that, sacrificed all that, and it just didn't, you know, it didn't work out for me. And it's just one of them, like I said, I was just flat, but I've had a few months off now and I feel good, and I feel that if a fight come up, I'd really think about taking it.
Kids are the best in them situations, I think, because especially just before Christmas, both of us lost. We could have been down in the dumps, but you can't because you've got your kids looking forward to Christmas. So you kind of just have to wise up, and there's more important things than boxing, really.
Yeah, it's very true. 25 years you've been at it as an amateur and a pro, 10 as a pro, 15 as an amateur, although they were kind of stop-start years. Talk to me about where it all started for you, so where you grew up, family.
I grew up in a roughish area in St Helens, you know, proper council estate area. Work really as for me growing up was non-existent. There was no jobs in the town really. Well, there was, but not from the estate I grew up in. We wasn't brought up to be like that. So I first went to the gym at 7, and there's a fella on the wall there, Johnny Tisnall, my old first boxing coach. And what he used to do, he used to come round, and you won't get away with it now. He just used to come round and throw loads of kids in his van on Middle Estate, you know what I mean? Like I said, you won't get away with it now.
And take them to the gym?
Yeah, that's what he used to do. So he used to go.
What were you thinking?
Just checking.
Well, that's what he used to do, and he used to come and he just like, but he was well known, very well respected man in the area. And he was just, all he wanted to do was, mate, he was a pro, didn't do well, for his mistakes, he just wanted to make kids achieve the goals and dreams. And he was just committed to doing that. So obviously he got me in the gym going, and you know, I first went at 7, and then I had a few breaks and then started properly at 10. But I was small, mate. I was I was a little runt as a kid, you know. I was 16 and last year of school, and I won the schoolboys at 7 stone. Do you know what I mean? So like Craig Lyon was in the weight above me. Have you seen how small Craig was?
I sparred Craig.
So Craig Lyon, like one of my long time old friends, he was in the weight above me. So I was tiny as a kid. But then I'd literally got, as a kid, even though I boxed, I wanted to box in the army. So I was just committed just to going in the army. My grades at school, just focused on getting what I needed to get in the army. But then I failed the medical when I went for me induction type thing. And then I just remember being at Lime Street Station, coming back from Sutton Coldfield, and I was 17, and my dreams were just like shattered. So then, the week later, I went a nightclub called Wigan Pier, and you know, it's all logged down in my book. So I've got no shame in saying it. But I took a tablet, an XT tablet, and my life from then just completely went all over the show. So I had about 2 years out and then come back, but what I did in them 2 years ended up getting me jail.
What did you do in those 2 years?
I got done for street robbery. So I was literally that off my head, you know, the GHB, it's like the date rate drug in it, and that's why I drank a bottle of that. So
it's good that Carl's laughing about it.
No, but I just used to go on like mad benders, and I'd been up all weekend, and then my mates come back from this party in Bolton, and they had all this GHB, and I drank a bottle of this GHB, and the next 12, 24 hours were just a complete blur for me. And what I did in this 12, 24 hour blur, I was just all over the show, and I street robbed somebody. I had no reason to do it. I was just that off me head, I didn't know what I was doing. So I got 3 years for that.
Wow.
Yeah, so then obviously what I did then, I did that and got out, and then when I got out, I won the ABAs. But what I'd done then, I'd had a mad fight in a chipper over, it wasn't me, my mate's a vegetarian, yeah. Mate's a vegetarian, and every time we used to go out, he only used to get chips, or cheesy chips, yeah, because he's vegetarian.
What a waste of a life.
I'm a random and all. So anyway, we've gone in this chipper, and they've not cut the chips proper. So they give him frozen chips, so we bit into it. And he was bladding me, mate, and he couldn't fight save his life. I was always there backing him up, like, but he was always kicking off. Because I was young then, I just used to back him up. And he'd had a bottle of WKD, Yeah, and he threw it behind cons because he gave him frozen chips and it landed in fryer. Yeah, and and the chip, he just ended up going up on fire. Like, never caught fire, but big smoke, and then all the drivers come out, and we just ended up, I was trying to sort this out, this obviously disagreement we was all having, and then it just escalated, so we ended up being in a big brawl. So then anyway, we got nicked, but I gave my brother's name in, because they didn't really know me, the police. I had no tattoos then. So anyway, I managed to get out as I was Danny, but then the police got onto me, so I was on the run then. Well, I was on the run, I started I won the ABAs.
You boxed in the ABAs, didn't you?
Yeah, so I weighed in ABAs 2004 and just managed to skirt around there.
Did you feel on the edge when you were there?
Every show I went, every show I went, I thought police were going to be there and nick me.
Wow.
But look, everything happens for a reason, don't it? And luckily I managed to get through it.
There's enough pressure boxing in the ABAs without having to look out for the old nick.
In between rounds. I remember reading that in your book, actually, about your mate, the vegetarian lad, just like out doing what you do at the weekend, bit of a header obviously, but he's a vegetarian, and just
just doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
Yeah, that's what it was over. So what I was getting onto then was I'd won ABAs, and then I fought for England, and I got on the funding, and I got on the Commonwealth squad type thing.
Well, because that was the time Amir Khan had won. The same year you won the ABAs, the same year Amir Khan won the silver, and that's when we got a big injection of funding for the British
That's
squad,
right.
wasn't it?
So when I think it was Amir Khan, Neil Perkins, me and John Watson went on his training camp. He went over Cyprus, he went on an acclimatiser. Just to get used to all the weather, because it was in Greece, wasn't it, 2004, so we went over there. But like I said, with all this, I was on my toes, just managed. But luckily, then when I went 3 years before that, I got jailed in Cyprus when I was 18. So I got jailed in Cyprus when I was 18, and
This is mad.
Yeah.
You should all buy his book, by the way, because
It's a great advert for it, yeah. The hardback is now available.
But then luckily I got a 3-year ban when I got released, and luckily my 3-year ban had just come up by the time I went on this England camp. But then back in the 2004, the police were on me then. So even though I won the ABAs and sorted my life out, I then got nicked and jailed. I cut my tag off in the meantime as well, because he had a tag round my ankle. It was wild, as it sounds. But then it come back then from that fight in 2003.
Right.
So then I got jail again, and then I got out, and then I had a fight with some doorman, and then I got jail again, and then I got really lucky with a sentence. So in 2006, I come out and I was just like, I'd had enough, and I just met me now wife Gemma, and it was one of them where if I didn't do it then, I'd be forever doing it, and I'd have lost Gemma, and it was just the time to do it. Do you know what I mean? And it was just one of them where I got out, and no matter what, I was turning my life around, and that's what I did. It just got me head down and just started grafting, but went back to what I knew what was best, which was boxing.
Is any of this sound like the man that have known for the last few years?
No, not now, because I've heard all the stories and stuff, and being in camp with Martin, but I think it's commendable, what you've done, considering where you've came from, and reading the book and all them stories to get where you've got. And I always Martin's just he's a proper man, you know what I mean? I can imagine that he can go and fit his own kitchen and stuff and do anything he needs to, and a good family man. He's had the past, but he's a completely reformed character now. And the stories are funny. I always like listening to them, but
as somebody that's never thrown a WKD in a chip pan,
that wasn't me.
That wasn't you.
Yeah,
what? He's a vegetarian.
Yeah, sorry, it's the vegetarian. Yeah. Just talk to me about prison. So the first time you went in you did a 3-year stretch?
No, well, I was in Cyprus before that.
Right.
So I got caught with some tablets in Cyprus. So literally there was 4 of us who went.
What's a Cyprus clink like?
I was just going to ask,
Unreal. Well, I went back I went there last year. I go back every year because my family's got a place over there that we go. And I managed to get in last year. I knew some fella in Nicosia who's got a boxing gym. We just got chatting over Instagram, and I went to his gym, and then he said, "What, you coming to Nicosia for?" I said, "I'm going to try and get in this prison." I was there. I've got questions I just want to ask him, you know, because it was like so long ago. And he was like, oh, well, I might have a few connections for you.
When you say questions, what sort of questions?
Don't know, just like people who was there. Do you know what I mean? Who I'd love find them, love see them. Some of them
you met people that you got.
Yeah. Some of them I'd never ever see again.
How long you doing Cyprus?
Oh, got lucky. We got 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But it was like proper jail, like it was something you'd see off a film. So like there was 6 bunk beds, 12 in a cell.
Does time go differently as well when you're in there? 6 weeks feel like longer than 6 weeks.
No, but you know what? I don't want to obviously glorify you, but you was literally let out in the morning, you sunbathed all day, and you just got locked up at night. You used to go in for a roll call at dinner, and then let back out, and then roll call for tea, and then you was in then. So you was out in the sun just playing football.
Did they give you sun cream?
No, they never. Not glorifying it, but it was. Yeah, I mean, it was bad, and what I put my mum through. Do you know what I mean? My mum nearly had a nervous breakdown, so I put my mum through my mum and dad through a lot of crap over the years. Like,
how often could you ring home?
What was it? No, we did them on the phone. We couldn't phone home.
So, what? I guess that must have been the very first time you found out you were going inside. That must have been quite a scary thought, especially.
Well, I was on the run, so my mate got nicked before me, and I was just out off my head, like seriously off my head. I didn't know where it was, and I'd come back and the room had been raided, and they'd been nicked. So I was just on my own, and I ended up on run for a few days. And then I phoned my mum then, like, because I knew I had myself in. There was talk of me going to Egypt, because you can get the boat over to Egypt and flying back from Egypt. But when I'd got a little moped, which fell off and snapped my collarbone in while I was on the run as well, by the way, so I had a bad time. But then I didn't know where to put the moped, and I needed the moped for get me scooter, and I just didn't. Everything was a blur. I was only there for 4 or 5 days. I was only there for a week, and like it all just escalated like that. But it was at a time where I was just young. I was daft. I was stupid. I look back now, and I mean, I've never been a nasty person, but I was just stupid. Do you know what I mean? But it got to the stage where, like, for some unknown reason, like me growing up as a kid, not young, but like when I got into like me, you know, when I started going out being stupid, I was convinced I was going to be dead before 30. I was just convinced, you know, because what I was doing, the life I was leading, I thought there's no way I can keep going like this. So I was kind of like, I was just wrecking myself. Do you know what I mean? Just like, because I was just convinced in my head that that's what was going to happen.
What's the sort of fate been of your group of mates from school, or who you were?
Oh well, there's loads of them. Obviously, people who's still there, people who's died. You know, people who's you know, been killed. People who's died from drug overdoses. You know, people who's in jail for a long time.
So you're seeing sort of reflections of what your life could have been on another path.
Kind of, yeah. But like going back to like Johnny Chiz, when he used to always say to me like about people, because I was going out drinking all the time, and he said like that, you know, there's a life there for you if you want it. So he said to me, just knuckle down now. He said, these who's in the pub, because I was obsessed with going to the pub all the time, and he went, these who's here now, he said, they'll be here in 10, 20, 30 years time. Yeah. They're going to be here all their life. When you just go out and dedicate now, few years, focus, 10 years, he said, and your life will change forever. And you're young and you're daft and you don't take the advice on, do you? So it took me a good few years to catch on, but you know, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, and everything that happened when it did, you know, I wouldn't be with Gemma, one of my kids, we won't be here now talking like this, you know what I mean? So I just think it's important just to take the positives out of everything. Do you know what I mean? When I go into jails now and I speak with inmates, and it was like me when I got out in 2006. It was up to me to change. Do you know what I mean? Your chance comes of changing, and this is what I say to him. When that door shuts, when you get out of that jail and that main gate shuts behind you, if you want to change your life for the better, you can. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it was with me. I just had enough of doing all them stupid things, and I just thought, you know, I just really want to do something positive in my life.
I guess it's the difficult thing, isn't it? Because in hindsight, it's always easy to look back and say, this is what I should have done as an amateur, or I wish I'd done more road work, or I wish I'd got up earlier and done this. But obviously, the hardest thing when you're a kid is to see the benefit of that in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, you just want to... There's so many people around me as well. Like, I was getting loads of good advice when I was a kid. Never listened to it, really, and I wasn't doing the stuff that Martin was doing, but I was messing about, like, and you just wish kind of now, like, I'd have loved to have been an Olympian, an Irish Olympian, and it never happened. And I think simply because I didn't apply myself properly. So it's important to you get the advice, but the not just nod your head and agree with it, but actually take it in. And when you're a kid, sometimes it might take a while for it just to click and sink in.
It does take a while. Speaking of Olympians, Billy Joe Saunders was the kind of #1 guy at welterweight. I think at the time went to Beijing. You were welterweight up until, because that was what you boxed in the AABAs, wasn't it?
Yeah, 69.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was welterweight for them, but
then,
when I went away, I just trained all the time and just got big into weights.
Right.
So obviously when I come out, I was just 13 and a half stone. So there was no way. I remember it's in the book actually. The first time I met Jamie, because I turned Steve Wood.
Yeah.
He was my manager, and he took me ashore. And Jamie synthesised him, and he went, "Oh, you all right, mate? Yeah, Sam. What weight are you gonna do?" I went, "Oh, I just thought I'd just slip back into welter." And I went, "Well, like 13 and a half stone welter." He just burst out laughing. He went, "No, fucking whatever you do, welter, mate."
Yeah, kill yourself.
But then obviously when I got into training, and I realised there was no way I was gonna make it.
You're watching TKO, together with 32 Red.
You went through the domestic ranks pretty comfortably. You're sort of unchallenged in 21, 22 fights, and then you had Nick Blackwell for the British.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're ranked, I think it's WBA number 3, and Felix Sturm gets floated. When was the first time you got the phone call about that?
Well, it was just after the Macklin fight, when Sturm fought Macklin, and obviously Macklin, I thought he should have won that fight. It was a close fight.
Close, didn't he?
Yeah. So I think from their perspective, they wanted to get an eye-ranked, somebody who was similar in the UK, just kind of bury that decision with Macklin type thing, you know what I mean?
Because he did a lot of soft touches before that, hadn't he, really?
Oh, yeah.
He did a lot of pretty soft defence.
A lot of Germans,
yeah.
Germans do, they get built up and the
that's
fight,
it,
fight
yeah.
no one for a while.
Yeah.
But I think I'd fought Blackwell and then for British title, and then I went straight into a world title then. So, you could say...
So the next fight, Blackwell and then
Blackwell
Sturm.
and then
Sturm, yeah.
So it was a big jump, but obviously it was a opportunity, wasn't it? You can't knock them type of opportunities down. I mean, the money was shit, but it was a chance for me, to really announce myself on the world stage.
Because Sturm, of course, was robbed himself when he went over to fight De La Hoya.
Yeah.
And of course, that if he'd have won that fight, it would have poured water on the Hopkins fight, and so it wouldn't have worked. So you kind of get an idea of what's going on at that stage, and you can't blame him therefore for once he secured a world title for kind of holding it there, because he'd been a victim of it himself. But never easy when you're obviously on the wrong end of a decision. I mean, you've watched that fight. What do you think? Do you think Martin won?
I think he won the fight. I think anyone else watching will tell you the same.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you talk about fighters, great British fighters who have never been world champions, but with the right decision, Martin would have been twice, at least. So it's very, very unfortunate that you can't call yourself a world champion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. But it was one of them with Sturm, we knew. Same with Martinez.
You know what's happening when you're going over there. It needs to be so wide.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to fight Chavez Jr. after that, in between that and the Martinez fight, wasn't it? But of course, visa issues with your past were problematic in getting into America. At what point did you realise that you weren't going to be able to go, and how disappointing was that?
Well, we sent... No, this was because they had Peter Quillen on undercard, chief support undercard of, for WBO undercard of Mayweather Alvarez. We had that fight, but then this was obviously after the Chavez fight. But what I did was went and applied for my visa, and I went down to London, and they just point blank refused me. And then the Quillen fight come up then. So then the fella from Golden Boy wanted my criminal record, and I sent in the criminal record, and he just went, not a cat in hell's chance.
Too many chippies in there.
Yeah.
Stay in the States.
So that was that gone. So I kind of, I've always like, it's always
Was Jacobs floated about as well? Was there a chance of a Jacobs fight?
Well, I fought Jacobs in
Twice in the amateurs, didn't you?
Yeah.
You
Was
fought
there
him
talk of that as a pro as well?
No, well, I was kind of open because he just signed with Matchroom and I was with Matchroom at the time. That possibly it will get mentioned. But obviously the Saunders fight come up in the meantime, and I switched Matchroom to Warren. So it just didn't materialise. But like I said, America's always been like a bit of a closed book for me. There's some great fights over there for me. There was, but just obviously, you know, you've that's what happens when you're a bellend, when you're a kid, when you're a young lad.
We'll come on to Martinez in just a moment. Yeah, you boxed Danny Jacobs twice, either side of a week, didn't you?
Yeah. So I fought him on the Monday in London, and then I fought him on the Friday in Liverpool.
Was that telephased?
Yeah, it was
I remember watching him. Yeah.
What was he doing over here?
He just England versus America. It was
USA.
like a big thing on Khan because Khan fought for it.
Oh, he's on one of those.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So what happened was Neil Perkins. Me and Perkins were 1 and 2 at welter, and Perko was meant to fight him in London, and then I was meant to fight him in Liverpool. But Perko did his hand in. He said, "Do you want to fight me in London?" So I went, yeah. So I went down London and got beat 19-17. It was a close fight, but then on train on way home, me and Chizzy had an argument. We used to argue all the time, and I didn't go with gym then all week. So did little bits and bobs of training, but I was at Sharp. I was doing bits of runs trying to keep my weight down. Anyway, I managed. He phoned me the night before. Dead unprofessional, really, when you think of it, but just old school. It's how it was then. And he said, "Are you fighting?" So I went, "Yeah, I'll fight." So I went, struggled, was in it sauna a bit, tried to make me weight, couldn't make it. Was at Sharp. Got in there, and Jacobs was just took it up a notch and just pinged me all over, sure. But I remember going out at round 3, like thinking, you know, there's nothing I can do. I'm well behind on points now. I just went out, just throwing just big air makes, and I caught him, dropped him. And I thought, you know, I've got it. And then he just got up and just started he's like dusting his gloves off and shaking his head. And then he just got on his bike then. I think I got beat something like 23-11 or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So there was a big difference, but I wasn't at my best that second fight. But yeah, you know, it was one of them. That was just when I was just like really could have kicked on from there. Yeah. Had me pass not brought up, got brought up. You know what I mean? Because like I said, got fighting for England, got on the funding, and life was, you know, it was good. Just want ABAs and that. But like I said, that happened.
And little would you both know, you both go on to have pretty valiant efforts both against Golovkin kind of in his prime years.
Yeah.
And he's now 3 weeks away from big fight against Canelo Alvarez as well. Carl, any chance you give Danny in that? He boxed very well against Golovkin, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think it's a hard fight. We were just talking about it before you guys arrived here, and fair play to Canelo for taking it. I think that with this big deal with DAZN, it was probably a plan laid out, and they said, look, you're getting serious money, so it needs to be serious fights, and Danny Jacobs is definitely a serious fight.
Yeah.
It's not an easy fight for Canelo.
He struggled a bit with southpaws in the past, and Golovkin switch hit. Danny switched it very well against Golovkin.
It worked well for him that against Golovkin, didn't it?
It did. What do you think? Any chance? Would you give that?
Definitely give him a chance. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a top fighter, Jacobs. I mean, obviously, I think I watched I fought Canelo and Golovkin. I thought Golovkin won the first one. A bit unlucky, but I thought Canelo won the second.
Yeah.
Close fight, but I actually watched him. We watched it, no commentary, and we both scored it, and we both had it. Give it Canelo by 2. So I thought I've been in with Golovkin, so I know how much of an hard fight that is. Do you know what I mean? And to do what I thought in the second fight, he did what he needed to do, all centre of the ring and pushing him back. But Jacobs, I thought Golovkin won. He pushed him close, but I thought Golovkin.
The knockdown probably just tipped it over for him, didn't it?
Yeah. But I struggled to win when he went southpaw. But Jacobs is a live opponent for anybody. I really rate him. He's a good fighter, and Canelo's got his hands full when they fight.
So four prison stretches or 11 rounds with Golovkin, which is worse?
Oh, get me back in with Golovkin any day.
Really?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Crikey,
Yeah.
blimey. Never get me in the can then. Before we come on to your fight with Golovkin, you went to Argentina for Martinez. I mean, given the visa issues, Carl, that could have been quite a good excuse for fighters to have avoided Martin stateside, just knowing that he couldn't get over there. But Martinez obviously decided to have it
Back home
in Argentina. I mean, fair play to him for that, because he could have easily used the excuse and not fought.
Yeah, I mean, I was brought in as cannon fodder because it was 30th anniversary of Falklands War, wasn't it? So that's why I was
bringing an Englishman in.
Yeah, bringing an Englishman in. Yeah, why he gets done in. But that, like I said, I was brought in for as cannon fodder for that. But
there was problems with the ring and all, wasn't there? And that fight.
What happened was, you remember Gary Buckland?
Yeah.
Remember him?
I used to spar at Gary a lot.
I felt tight to him, you know. We was in the same hotel, so I seen him absolutely killed himself at make his weight, and then he made it, and then he was on the fight after me. But what happened was, when obviously Martinez won, the ring got absolutely bombarded and it collapsed. So then he couldn't fight. So he did end up fighting. But yeah, I mean that was some experience that for me. Like, it was, you know, nothing's ever come close to that. I mean, it was, you know, again, you know, it was one of them where I knew I needed to knock him out to win.
Did you feel like you were hated that night in the arena? Like, was it really hostile?
In the arena, yeah, but beforehand it wasn't. But obviously when everybody gets together and they've had a few drinks or whatever, and you know, it's I think the old Falklands thing is pretty much like any of us. I think it's only politicians who's really bothered about it. Any of us aren't bothered, and they were the same when I went over there. They didn't hate me because it was an English bloke, you know what I mean? I got treated really well, but on the night it was proper hostile. Like, it was, yeah, I mean, it was, you're just in the zone, aren't you? So you're not bothered, but it's quite intimidating for, you know, speaking with some of my supporters who went over, family and friends, and that was intimidating for them. But my mate, it's in my book list, my mate got robbed, gunpoint, in an hotel got robbed, and he come down, he'd gone up to his room and come down mid-robbery. So obviously he was gun to his head and put on floor, and what suck off him and all that carry on. But it was quite rough, but it was unreal experience. And the way he got treated over there, it was lovely, the lovely people, do you know what I mean? And Martinez did a nice thing for me, but he was a good fella, him. But like you said early on about the lawyer and his fight with Sturman, the whole idea of him fighting me was after it fighting Cotto. Do you know what I mean? And had I won that fight, it just won't happen. So just politics of boxing, you know. You think it doesn't bother me. Just is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
There's no point getting net up over it because where does it get you?
That's another one you won, and you know you should have been called the world champion again.
Yeah.
So that's 2 fights, and it just feels like it's a bit of a shame. It does for me. You're laughing, but like, he won that fight. That was more convincing than the Stern fight.
Yeah.
You put him over in the 8th round.
Yeah.
He wasn't badly hurt, but
it was just more of a square footed, knocked down, and that was it. He went over.
Yeah.
But the one in round 10, he was down heavy with that.
But they called it a slip, didn't they?
Yeah, well, apparently as well, it was the first time like instant replay had been used in a. I don't know if it's been used since, but they used instant replay in that fight. So I think it was set up no matter what with all that instant replay. It's a bit of a coincidence. I think no matter what, even if I'd have won, if I'd have knocked him out, I think they'd have found some type of fault somewhere.
Right.
But they looked at this, it was a clear knockdown, and they reeled it a slip. But
that's a pound for pound guy as well. Like everything, you never know what happens then after that. If you do get the decision, if he doesn't get up after the knockdown, like you're talking about fighting Canelo and stuff then, you know? And
yeah, I know.
Huge names.
Yeah.
Well, even though he was a huge name, you fought big names, but it changed everything.
Yeah, definitely.
The one fighter that really everyone wanted to see Canelo fight in his prime was Gennady Golovkin. I think we saw him, it wasn't far on the slide, but certainly the last couple of years he's been a bit flatter than he has been. You certainly got him when he was at his best, no doubt.
He got me.
He got you. I can remember Darren Barker said, he said Tony Sims saved me when he said, I got floated Golovkin. He said, I didn't really think much of it. He said, I said, yeah, all right, I'll take it. And Tony went, nah, we'll leave that one. He said, and I've always thanked him for it years later.
Yeah.
A fighter like that, he's got a reputation for kind of changing, can change lives.
Yeah.
I saw what happened with Kell Brook, and there are numerous others. When the phone goes to fight somebody with that sort of reputation, does it feel any different for you, or is it just another fight?
Just a buzz. Just a
mad, you're a mad.
Just a buzz. It's you know, I always wanted to get to the end of my career going back from my past, just having no regrets. You know, I never dodged any fights, and it's worked against me. You know, you look back, it's worked against me. The fact, you know, they've got me on the cheap because they know I'd say yeah to the fight. You know what I mean? There was no really negotiations needed with the fight. But what happened was after Martinez, I had you know, I was with that in promotion, so I literally went from fighting Sturm, and I didn't fight them for 6 months, and I fought in an 8-rounder. You know, I should have been like
after being robbed against Sturm. Yeah,
I should have been in a big fight. Instead, I was put in an 8-rounder in Manchester Velodrome on undercard of Scott Quigg and Rendell Monroe.
Yeah.
And then the same happened with Martinez. You know, so I fought Martinez, and then I ended up fighting then in December. I had a shocker. I fought that Sergey Kamitsky, who I'd fought once before, and I was full of flu when I fought him. But I needed to take the fight to honour me contract issues, you know, with Athens. So then obviously things parted. We parted with the Athens, and then I was kind of like I was in limbo then. So. That was when the deal came with Rodney Byrne from Golden Gloves in South Africa, which was a bit of a curveball, but it was kind of put forward to us, and it was like, we'll get a free fight deal, and at the end of it is Golovkin. So I knew for like 12 months beforehand, round about that I was gonna be fighting Golovkin at some points, but it was set fights, set dates, and something I could work towards. And it's the first time that I'd ever been given that type of structure in my boxing career. Do you know what I mean? So it was good for me, even though I knew I had a tough fight at the end of it. Yeah. I had some form of structure for me to build into the fight, which was like I said, it was new for me. So it was good feeling.
Who's the last fighter you can remember before Golovkin that had that reputation? Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's been anyone in
Gerald
between.
McClellan in the 90s had a pretty fierce reputation, didn't he? Not many though.
Tony did have at one point as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did. But he was right up there, wasn't he? At that particular point.
Just you know, it was scary man, Golovkin, and serious puncher, serious fighter.
Do you remember the Gabriel Rosado fight? Can you remember that?
Yeah.
He looked like he'd been just dipped in paint by the end of it, and that was only 7 rounds.
I know.
So all of that evidence, and everyone's obviously, you know, the media hype around it, and you feel like you're going in there with you know, the sort of lion in one of the...
He stops everyone up until you went the longest.
Yeah,
you went
11. Yeah. So Jacobs was the first one who did 12 with him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then obviously Canelo twice since then, but yeah, I mean, it was an hard fight, but it's what you're in the game for, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I remember you saying actually about his punching power, and obviously he's a serious puncher.
Yeah.
But you said to me that Groves singly punched harder.
Yeah, for one punch. I mean, I had a virus when I fought Groves, which didn't feel that physically strong anyway. But that's not my excuse. But when I fought Golovkin, obviously, you know, you go out and felt his power because, you know, I'd made a big thing about people being beat before they got in the ring with him. Do you know what I mean? So I really wanted to stand up to him and just no matter what, just try my best and only go out if I got actually taken out rather than getting beat before I got in. So I went in and I felt his power at the beginning of the round, and I thought, all right, you got a good thud here, but I thought I can deal with this. But it's the culmination of every shot, you know
accurate
what I mean? Accurate. His jab. You know, when I fought Groves, like for actually one punch, you know, I remember fighting Groves and, you know, people say this to me, everybody think Groves has got a good jab, and he has. But Golovkin, for me, has had a better job. What I think Groves is good at is his feet. His feet are really wide. He's got a big, wide stance, and he's got pure power in his backhand. So I remember when I fought Groves, and this big right hand just whizzed past my head. fucking, I'm glad I'm not into that. so I kind of, like I said, I didn't feel myself in it, but I just squirt, you know, experience, like just squirt around and try and get through the rounds. But the thing is with Groves, he's, you know, he did have some chinks in his armour, which he did deteriorate. And with Golovkin, if anything, just got stronger.
Yeah.
And when he dropped me in round 4, from round 4 to 8, I was still recovering.
Yeah.
But I took some serious damage within that 4 rounds, you know what I mean? Because I thought, I think 9, 10, 9 he had an okay round, 10 I was having a good, decent round up until he dropped me. And when I was fighting him, I thought, because like he'd stopped everybody, the only little weakness I got of him was I could kind of feel a little bit of desperation from him. The fact that he thought, okay, this might go 12. Do you know what I mean? But apart from that, everything with him was spot on. There was just no chinks in his armour whatsoever.
Wow. That's
Strong man. I know since, I think the last one for me, the close fight, you know, you could have called it either way. I called it Canelo by a couple. But I think that was for me the first time that I've seen Golovkin look old.
Yeah.
In that last one, look tired and old, and I'd never seen that before. But he's by far the best fighter I've been in with.
Did that fight take anything out of you, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I've never. Obviously, my biggest fight since that was Groves. Obviously, me and Groves, like, you know, if you watch the first half of the fight was crap really, because like I said, I was like just skirting about. But like from when he I think end of round 8, he caught me with a backhand, and I didn't see any, he just hit me, and my legs had gone. And then it was just before bell anyway, I staggered into the corner, and then I sat on me stool, and Oliver was on about pulling me. And I couldn't really, I was still buzzing, and I was like, he was like, oh, I'm going to pull you. Him and Frank Hopkins were talking, I'm going to pull you. And I'm like, don't pull me, please, don't pull me. It's like me kind of, I'd hate that. I'd just rather go down fighting, no matter who it's against, I'd always do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not the right thing to do. But anyway, I just said to him, I said, oh, listen, please, give me one more round. He was like, go out. He said, go out then and give me something, show me for. So as I stood up, my feet just felt they were buzzing. Like my feet were burning, They're still not recovered. And fucking David A was in corner head outside him, and he went, get on him, George, he's still buzzed. And I was thinking, fucking shut up. I felt actually buzzing, and I went out and I managed to catch him. And then it was just we had a good last 4 rounds, me and Groves. But it was a good fight. But that was my biggest fight since Golovkin. Abraham, I thought I won the fight, but I fucked up against Abraham. The thing is, like, Groves, Golovkin, Stern, Martinez, I left it all in the ring. I'm one of my only regrets with boxing is I didn't leave it all in the ring with Abraham. I left it too close, and you should never do that. I still thought I won the fight, but I shouldn't have done it. So, you know, I put my hands up and, you know, just accept it. Just is what it is, innit? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I know there's 2 things that are ringing true here. Is the Warrington fight is one that you wouldn't have wanted Jamie to have pulled you out at any point because you wanted to see out the 12. And I've forgotten the second one, but it was important. And the other one was, I suppose you left it all in the ring, wasn't it? You gave absolutely everything until the 12th.
I kept trying, and I think that's similar to what Martin's saying. I'd rather go out flat on my face than get pulled out. And I think there's a lot of fighters like that, but it's just something, I don't know, you'd be, and it's probably nothing to be ashamed of, but I'd be ashamed to get pulled out.
Oh, yeah, I would.
Do you think Gallagher should have pulled Crawler out in between the rounds on Saturday?
Difficult one to answer. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think that the fight was kind of only going one way, but I don't think I watched the fight the next morning, and I wasn't thinking that in between the rounds. Did think it recently, Liam Smith against Eggington. I did think the corner should have pulled him out a round earlier, but not still early in the fight for Crawler and Loma. And no, I don't think Joe's the blame there really.
You ask any fighter though, what they should say is go out with my shield every time.
Yeah.
what they should say. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you'll ever get a fighter and trainer falling out over a fighter saying, you should have fucking pulled me then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So listen, it is a dangerous sport. But from a fighter's point of view, that's how I think it should be.
How's Oliver these days? Because obviously he's been extremely unwell, and I know you had to kind of taper down your training sessions with him. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah, so he's a private man, Oliver. So but I don't want to say too much because he doesn't like anybody knowing his business. It's just him. He's just old school. He's a private man, but he's doing okay.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, lovely. You are listening to and watching Round 11 of TKO here on Joe, together with 32 Red. Me, Chris Lloyd, and Carl Frampton will be with you every Thursday. Now, though, here's Russell Kane with something else from Joe.
Thanks, Chris. I'm Russell Kane. Please subscribe to my podcast, Boys Don't Cry. It's fascinating. Much needed. It's not men in cardigans talking about their feelings, and it's not men talking about boobs and football. It's men being provoked into honestly talking about the things you wish they'd talk about, ladies. So lads, listen in for the awkwardness. Ladies, listen in with nosiness. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And by the way, I'm not Nick Grimshaw.
Cheers, Russell. Welcome back to Round 11 of TKO here on Joe, together with 32 Red. So you were saying at the top of the show, you said you feel like you've got one more fight in you, or maybe more, I don't know, but is it that you feel mentally you're not ready to quit, or is it physically?
Definitely not physically. Definitely, I'm the best now in between fights than I've ever been. It's just mentally, like I said earlier about the year he had last year, but you think of everything you put in, you just hope you just get a little bit of reward, and it was just one of them with me. It was just like setback after setback after setback, and I was just pissed off with it. Do you know what I mean? And like since I turned pro end of 2007, so this is the first year. So from 2008, so this is what now 11 years, 2019. This is the first year in 11 years where I've started the year not smashing my body, not putting no expectations on myself, and just enjoying life. And I'm in a good place, you know what I mean? I look back at how much stress and pressure I put myself under, and I want to allow myself to enjoy it. Whereas now I've had that mental break, I've recharged a little bit, and I know I'm not physically done. It was just mentally, it was just on my ass. Whereas obviously it's just building back up now, and I'm getting a lot more positive about it, you see. So that's why I mean, there's definitely one more big fight in me, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I know there is. So I'm looking at getting out in summer and putting my name back out there, and hopefully can land a big fight. But like I said, I've never had much luck in boxing, so I'm not expecting much, but I'm doing it because I want to enjoy it. And I
seen an interview you'd done with Boxing News, and I read it, and I loved it. The headline even was brilliant. It was something like, I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. I'm boxing because I want to box.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's the first time that I've actually done it. Do you know what I mean? It's the first time that I've actually done it, because you're on about, what about people? People saying, fuck, I'm not asked about anybody. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm asked about me. That's it. And that's how I am. I mean, I know there's a big fight out there for me, definitely. So it's just about me, just like I said, just enjoying these next couple of months off, getting back at gym, putting my name back out there, and hopefully something comes up. But again, like I said earlier, if it comes up, great. If it doesn't, great. You know what I mean? But there is definitely one big fight out there for me, and I'm just gonna enjoy it till it comes along.
Yeah, be nice to get you to finishing careers on wins, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, I was in the same boat as him. I was so annoyed after that last performance. I was really like in my head retired for a while, but just with hindsight, you're thinking, hold on a minute, like I genuinely still think I could be a world champion. And people may say you're deluded, but I'm going to take a leaf out of Martin's book and fuck them. I don't really care. I don't care.
Yeah. Listen, Frank Bruno won it the fifth time of asking, didn't he? So it's not impossible. And
That's it.
as you say, even if it doesn't happen, you've had a great career.
That's it. Exactly. I look back from, 2006 was the last time I was in jail. No one ever thought I'd have been here. Do you know what I mean? And it was even starting out, you know, I didn't put any expectation. I would have said like I expected. It was only as time went on, I just wanted to train and take every fight and see where I got to. And as time's gone on, obviously, when I come so close against Sturm, that's when I really thought I was just chasing the world title bad.
The Martinez one,
you know
was
what I mean?
ridiculous.
The Martin, and it was just like that. It just seemed one little thing after another. So it was what again a problem I feel I've always had is when I decided to turn my life around, I just wanted to get my head down and work hard, and that's what I've done. And I think sometimes I've just worked a little bit too hard. I've overtrained, but it's done me no harm. Like I said, you know, I was big into the party scene, took a lot of drugs. I'm ashamed to say it, but over the years, you know, I've partied a lot. Never since since I went back amateur in 2006, never. But you know, within all that time, I've been away 4 times, and I look where I am now, what I've got with my wife and my kids, and you know, I've done well. So you know, things could have been better, but things could have been far worse. And you know, I'm happy in a good place. I feel lucky in the fact that I just want everybody to do well. Do you know what I mean? I don't hate on anybody. If somebody does well, good on them. And I just want people to do well. You know what I mean? So I feel blessed that I'm in that position, and it's just helped me in my own life. I feel lucky and blessed. You know what I mean?
Good man. Well, lovely to speak to you, mate. Thank you so much.
Enjoy it.
Before we go though, 32-second challenge. You're going to read you out a list of words. A lot of them you'll recognise, and I want you to say the first thing that comes into your head.
Right.
Ready for this?
Let's go.
All right, this is our 32-second challenge with 32 Red. Okay, we are ready to go. Chizzy.
Oh God, absolute legend. Absolute legend.
Clubbing.
Good times.
Robin Park Arena in Wigan.
Debut.
Cyprus.
Good and bad times.
Prize fighter.
My first bit of proper exposure.
Prison.
Experience.
Martinez.
Great fighter.
Gemma.
One of a kind.
World title.
It's been and gone.
Golovkin.
Animal.
Oliver Harrison.
Legend.
And the future.
Positive.
Good man. Martin Murray, what a pleasure.
Oh,
thank you for having us
man.
in
Thank
your
you.
home.
Thank
you, Martin.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Carl,
mate.
cheers as always. Martin, thank you very much. Thank you at home for watching as well. TKO round 11 done and dusted. Remember to check out a couple of our other episodes as well. Joshua Boazzi last week, David Hay the week before, and our other shows, Russell Kane, Boys Don't Cry, and House of Rugby with Alex Payne and James Haskell too. This has been TKO on Joe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week.
You've been watching TKO on Joe, together with 32 Red.